Dylan Carlson. Dylan Carlson. Are you kidding me? Dylan friggin' Carlson.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I am your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on X at JD Sports Radio. You can follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals on YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment. We're very, very close to 12,200 subscribers, pushing to get to that 13 grand. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so. Also available on TikTok and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation, giving the best fans of baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. After an incredibly exciting sweep over the Arizona Diamondbacks this past weekend in Busch Stadium, the Cardinals were right back at it on Memorial Day in Baltimore, wearing the red, white, and blue version of all of the Cardinal stuff here today. Represent the USA. Facing the Baltimore Orioles, who have been a major disappointment so far this season. The O's came into this series in dead last in the AL East at 18-34. They'd lost 7 of their last 10, but had won back-to-back games over the Red Sox. So they weren't feeling completely horrible about themselves. On paper, some pretty familiar names, some good names. Adley Rutschman, although he's hurt, didn't play in this particular game. Gunnar Henderson, former number 1 overall pick, Jackson Holliday, Matt Holliday's kid, was good today. Ryan Mountcastle, Ryan O'Hearn, and then penciled in to center field for the game today is none other than former Cardinal Dylan Carlson. Now, Carlson, for those who are unfamiliar, was the top prospect in the Cardinal system. Seemed destined for greatness at one point when they brought him up in 2021, finished third in the NL Rookie of the Year award that year. What do you hit? 266, 18 dingers, 65 ribbies in 149 games. All things were pointing up for the switch hitter. Good bat, good power, good speed, good glove. He wasn't great at anything, but he was pretty good. You were like, this is a solid ball player. This guy's going to be able to do a lot of good things. And after that year, it just never came together for Dylan after the season. It got worse every year. Large part due to injuries. Not a whole lot you can do about that. Just couldn't stay healthy. And when he was healthy, production kept dipping. It just kept getting worse and worse. Cardinals gave him ample opportunities to claim a starting spot, and either he got hurt when that opportunity would pop up, or he just never took advantage of it. So just never came together between Dylan and the Cardinals. And I don't remember a lot of fans being all that upset with Dylan personally. It was never a personality thing with Dylan Carlson. I don't remember what the hell that dude sounds like when he talks. He didn't speak to the media a whole lot. It was just more disappointment than anything for all of us, right? And not being able to, see him fulfill all the promise that the organization had for him after being taken 33rd overall in the 2016 MLB draft out of Elk Grove High School in California. That was a massive draft bust for the Cardinals in the first round. They had 3 picks in the top 34. They took Delvin Perez, who never amounted to diddly poo, got busted for roids right before the draft. Cardinals still took him, and he sucked. It's a really bang-up job right there, boys. Dylan Carlson, and then Dakota Hudson, who just, after having surgery, just never became the guy they wanted him to be. But they get credit because they also drafted Zach Gallen in that draft. Tommy Edman came in that one. Andrew Kisner as well. So it wasn't like the whole draft was bad. But, those having 3 picks in the top 34 and none of them hitting, it's not good. Anyway, if you remember, Carlson got traded by the Cardinals at last year's trade deadline to the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for reliever Shawn Armstrong, who didn't pitch bad for the Cardinals, but when they realized they weren't going to be in it, they did him a solid, put him on waivers so he could sign with a contender. Cubs take him a month later. So basically, Carlson got traded for nothing. really, is what it ended up being, which didn't sit well with the fan base because of how highly touted he was. And the fact that fans felt Mo should have traded him a long time ago when he still had a decent stock. People were still intrigued by him, like, ooh, maybe Dylan Carlson's going to be pretty good. But he held on to him instead. Obviously there was that rumor. Who can forget this one in 2022 that, the Cardinals didn't land Juan Soto in a deal with Washington that year because Mo didn't want to trade Dylan Carlson. He said no. That rumor has since been debunked, but you'll still see people pop up saying, I can't believe they didn't trade him to try to get one. So that wasn't the whole thing. There was an entire package of people that were going to have to be dealt, a lot of big names, and the Padres package was better. That's really all that happened in that one. The Rays let him walk in free agency after batting .219 with 3 home runs and an OPS plus of 78 in 37 games. Got off to a hot start for them and then went petered out. Signed with the Orioles as a free agent this offseason. Has spent most of the season in the minor leagues. Has been called up and sent down on 3 occasions, most recently May 18th. And on Monday, he certainly showcased some of those skills that had him as a top prospect for the Cardinals that made them want to take him with what pick was he? 33rd overall pick, I believe is the one he was. And then Dakota Hudson was 34, I think. But he ends up going 2 for 4 in this game. 2 runs scored. There he is in a Orioles jersey. 2 for 4, 2 runs scored, a stolen base, and what ended up being the game-winning 3-run home run. Just his second home run of the year. Hit his first on Sunday against Boston. Dylan Carlson has not been good. This is like the ultimate revenge game. DC was hitting a $133 coming into this game. He's hardly an offensive threat. And to get beat on a swing by him, out of all people, is like a spiked cleat kick right to the beanbag. Anyone else hits that home run and you're like, oh my gosh, that sucks. But, oh well, we'll move on. But because it's Dylan friggin' Carlson, the pain shoots all the way into your spine. Goes from your lower area through your stomach to the spine. Just miserable. Just absolutely miserable. And I know every Cardinals fan did the same thing I did when he hit it. Of course he hit it. That's what we said, right? Of course he did. Of course Dylan Carlson just hit a home run. Why wouldn't he? Frustrating. Cardinals don't do much in this one at all, at any aspect of the game. Starting pitching wasn't great. Defense wasn't all that great. Hitting wasn't all that great. It was all pretty crappy. Kind of a rough day at the ballpark for the Redbirds. We're going to delve into all of it. I'll tell you where the game started to change a little bit. Defensively is really where things went wrong for the Cardinals in this game, something that doesn't happen very often because they're a very good defensive team. But 2 errors today, 2 big errors, led to runs. So we're going to talk about those things and more coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. The NBA playoffs are in full swing. Every night delivers highlight-worthy performances. You get major momentum shifts. Can't miss moments. This Knicks-Pacers series is bonkers. Like the Pacers doing what they did in that first game, then taking game 2, and then it's the Knicks coming back in game 3 in Indy. Who can predict this stuff? It's wild. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, Karl Anthony Towns just losing his mind in the fourth quarter. There's never been a better time to get in on the action. FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and when the games are going on live with player props, performance trends, same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. So if you've got a read on who's heating up in a certain series, like if you knew Karl Anthony Towns was going to go off in the fourth quarter of game 3 of that, and you had a feeling about it, and you put something down on that, well done. Well done. Because he goes off at 4 points going into the quarter, ends up scoring, I think, 24 in the fourth quarter was what it was. You got insight like that, good for you. Back it up with the same game parlay, right? You think somebody's going to have a big night, do it. Plenty of stars to choose from in both these series. Western Conference Finals, Oklahoma City Thunder and the Minnesota Timberwolves. Obviously, stars galore in that one, too. If you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up. Head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. If it wins, get $200 in bonus bets. Make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Leave your comments on YouTube as well as on X anytime you want. Feedback always welcome and encouraged. Let me hear about Dylan Carlson from you guys. If it's as frustrating for you as it has been for me to see that happen. You know, if Tyler O'Neill wasn't hurt again, I'm sure he would have done something. It's just the way it is. It's so bizarre that every ex-Cardinal absolutely murders the Cardinals when they play them. So outside of Dylan Carlson abusing them like a fat kid does cake, the Cardinals didn't do themselves any favors in this one either. They had 2 errors, 3 mishaps. 2 of them were errors. One by Nolan Gorman in the first inning, another by Brendan Donovan in the 4th inning. Both of them were on potential double play balls. Both were throwing errors, and both led to runs for the Orioles. So it just sucked in every way possible. Now, before we start getting all too angry, which I should calm down a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm all worked up. But just a frustrating game when you see a team like the Baltimore Orioles just sitting there and you're like, ooh, after you've just swept the Diamondbacks and to come out and lay an egg like this, it's frustrating, right? But anyway, but before people start cursing at Nolan Gorman, I'm going to back him up a little bit. First off, first error of the season, so it's not like he's been kicking the ball all over the place. Hasn't played a ton, but also he hasn't played a ton. So I'm kind of like, well, how are you supposed to get better at all this stuff when you don't get out there very often? First error of the season, though. But that's about as sugarcoating as I can put on it because it was a bad error. Leadoff single by Jackson Holliday. Eric Fetty on the mound in this one gets a ground ball over to Nolan Gorman. Picture perfect setup, right? 5-4-3, turn it, boom. Inning is totally different. Ball tails to the first base side on his throw to Donovan, covering second, makes it first and third, nobody out. Tough situation here because now you got, 3, 4, 5 guys for the O's coming up. Gunnar Henderson grounds to third in the next at bat. Gorman does a smart thing, goes to second base, gets the lead runner, but Jackson Holliday scores, makes it 1-0. This next one is not an error, but it's another kind of, it's a mishap. I'm not going to put blame on anybody for this one, but in the third, Dylan Carlson, singles and attempts to steal second base. Pedro Pajes throw would have gotten him on the money. Beautiful slide in, pops the ball loose out of Donovan's glove. Carlson is safe. O's end up bunting him over. Smart, small ball baseball. Give him credit. Bunts him over. Jackson Holliday. Is this a Holliday revenge game too because his dad played for us? Hits a hanger from Fetty for a single, and it makes it 2-0. So now you got 2 runs in on situations where normally the Cardinals make the play and these are outs. Then in the ill-fated 4th inning, after another leadoff single, Essen Kierstead grounds one to Donnie at second on the throw to second base, hits the runner in the back. Was it like the helmet area, I think is where it caught him? He was fine, though. It was Rhino Hearn, I believe. Everybody's safe, so now you got first and second. Also, Donovan's first error of the season. Really tough play because he's at an angle where, like, how the hell I get it around this guy? It's the thing that Wilson Contreras keeps running into when he gets a ground ball, tries to turn 2. He's trying to hit the shortstop covering at second base right in the chest, and that's where the runner is. He's like, where do I throw the ball? How do I do this? So, but unfortunate, right? Next hitter is Dylan friggin' Carlson, and he smokes Fetty's sinker that caught too much of the play for a home run. Bam. 5-0. You're in a major hole. You're not freaking out yet, though, because Baltimore's pitching staff is not very good. But when you give the team extra outs, it usually comes back to bite you, and that's exactly what happened in this one. Eric Fetty wasn't awful, but he certainly wasn't hitting his spots as well as he wanted to. 5 innings in this one. He gives up 5 runs. Only 3 of them are earned. 7 hits. A lot of singles. Struck out 5, walked just 1, which is great because walks are what get Fetty in trouble normally. But missed his spots a few times, and when he did, the Orioles would smack the crap out of it and get a hit. Bullpen trio of Matt Swanson, John King, Gordon Graceffo. They shut out the Orioles over the final 3 innings, but the offense just could never get anything going in this one. which was surprising considering who was on the mound for Baltimore. It's a guy that they have had a lot of success against over the years, and this dude had not won a game yet this season. It was 0-7 going into this one. And somehow, some way, he figures out how to carve up the Cardinals. Very bizarre, very strange. We're going to talk about him in this offense next. Coming up on Locked On Cardinals. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, check out the all-new Locked On MLB Game Night. Every game, every night, all season long. Get local analysis on a national scale. You can find MLB Game Night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. I'll be hosting that tonight, Tuesday, Wednesday as well, depending on when you're watching this. And me and John Frisch will be on there, so we'll go through all the games and stuff. Charlie Morton. All right, Charlie Morton. Been in the big leagues for 50 years? Feels like it, right? Since 2008. All joking aside, 2008. He's now 41 years old and won 14 games with the Braves just as recently as 2023. So it's not like he's just been garbage for a really long time. Last year, things got a little worse. He went 8-10. ERA jumped from 3.64 to 4.19. Not totally disgusting numbers, but 40 at the time. So Braves let him walk, signs with the Orioles, who were desperate to find some sort of pitching. Coming into Monday's game, Charlie Morton was 0-7. His ERA, 7.68. That's awful. If you had someone in the rotation for the Cardinals at 0-7 with the ERA of 7.68, what would this town do? What would this fan base do? This guy's been getting clobbered all year. Like most Orioles pitchers, they just haven't been very good. Has been in the bullpen more recently. Hasn't been starting as many games, but he gets a start on Monday against the Cardinals. And you might be thinking, all right, this is one of those veterans that, has just owned the Cardinals over the years, like a Kyle Hendricks type of guy. No. In his career against the Cardinals, he was 4-12 coming into this game with an ERA over 5. He hasn't been good. The Cardinals have hit him very well. So, coming into this game, I'm certainly drooling over this matchup. The Cardinals were probably drooling over this matchup, licking their chops. Especially after you've been seeing, the Arizona Diamondbacks pitching, which has been very, very good, and how tough they were to get kind of woo, this one shouldn't be so tough today. And maybe that was part of the problem. Maybe they came into this game not as focused about it, thinking it was going to be easy. So very shocking considering how good the Cardinals have been offensively this season, that they would hardly do anything in this game whatsoever. 4 hits. 4. Charlie Morton goes 6 innings, allows 2 runs on 4 hits. Pedro Pages 2-run shot in the 5th inning. The only damage is Pedro going around the bases. The only damage they can do against him. Morton induces 8 groundouts, struck out 5, walks 2. But the Cardinals never really threatened in this game. First inning, you get a walk to Mason Wynn. Moves to second on a throwing error by Morton. So you're like, all right, here we go. Morton was trying to pick him off, and Mason took second. But then you get back-to-back groundouts, inning's over. Leadoff walk to Brendan Donovan in the 4th inning. Contreras, who made his return to the lineup after dealing with back spasms, he strikes out. And then Ivan Herrera, my boy, hits into a double play. Inning over. 5th inning. You get the second hit for Nolan Gorman in this game. So props to Nolan Gorman. Did a lot more than most people did in this game. But he gets a couple hits in this one. But Gorman gets his second hit. Pages hits the home run. Victor Scott gets hit by a pitch. Steals second. You're like, all right, momentum. Now we're in business. Nope. Newt strikes out. Mason Wynn grounds out. Inning's over. Brendan Donovan. Leadoff double in the 6th inning. All right, here we go. No, wasted. Contreras grounds out to third. So an unproductive at bat. Basically as good as a strikeout. hitting it over there. Herrera grounds to second, moves the runner over, but Walker strikes out. Cardinals didn't have a runner reach base after that. None after the 6th inning. They go 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position. They leave just 4 men on because hardly anybody was on base in the first place. Lars, Nootbaar, and Jordan Walker each go 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts. What? Nootbaar struck out 3 times? Like what? And when Newt isn't going, this offense doesn't go very much, does it? It goes cold quickly. Contreras did not look good in his return, 0 for 4, 2 strikeouts. Herrera 0 for 4 a day. It's not a great day at the plate for the boys. And I saw a comment, somebody was like, maybe a hangover from the Arizona series. Maybe. You know, like I said, you so into that series, you look at the Baltimore Orioles, you look at Charlie Morton, and you're like, oh, this should be a breeze, right? We're just going to come out here and beat the snot out of these dudes. And maybe took them a little too lightly, a little less focused. It happens. Not easy to be like that 162 games of the season, especially when you're going to a team that you don't think is very good. And they bite you. Just a shame that we weren't able to take advantage of a team like the Orioles, who have been reeling all season. Like, they're freaking out. They don't know what the hell's going on. They already fired their manager this year. They're like, we don't know what to do. We were supposed to be starting this youth movement and this dynasty in the AL East, and we're in the bottom. We have sank quickly. Had one of their most hittable pitchers on the mound. Like, the ERA was closer to 8 than it was to 7. Their bullpen's exhausted after having to pitch a bunch against the Red Sox at Fenway. And to do almost nothing is very disappointing. Very disappointing. Nolan Arenado not in today's lineup after barreling into the stands in the 9th inning on Sunday to help preserve the Cardinals' lead, which was an awesome play. I was so proud of our fans to give him a standing ovation after he stayed in the game. I thought that was great. An amazing catch. When Nato hit the seats, obviously that hurts. But apparently it also knocked the wind out of him, which is part of the problem, which is why he was down on the field for so long. All reports are that he was very sore today, but he thinks he should be good to go for Tuesday's game in Baltimore. Some other organization notes. Cardinals catching prospect Leonardo Bernal named the Texas League's Player of the Week. 10 for 20, double, 3 home runs, 13 ribbies during their 6-game series against Tulsa. So, excellent job, Leonardo. Another catcher coming up. You had him and Jimmy Crooks. Like, I don't know how the Cardinals do it, man. They get these catchers. They've been doing well with them so far. So maybe turn one of those guys and do some more pitching or something. I don't know. See what they can do. But Bernal is apparently the first Springfield catcher to win the league's Player of the Week award since 2015. Wow. Quinn Matthews made another rehab start on Sunday. This is a big deal. This is a big deal right here. Another rehab start on Sunday. 3 shutout innings, allowed 2 hits, struck out 4 at Single A Palm Beach. First rehab start was, like 5 days earlier. 2 innings, 1 hit, struck out 4. Did you notice what's missing there? No walks. No walks in either appearance, which is great after what was going on with Quinn in Memphis, which is where everybody's like, is he okay? Because he had walked 15 people in his first 3 starts at Memphis. 2 games of 6 walks. And so everybody's like, what the hell's going on here? And then he got shut down with the shoulder soreness. But so far, so good on his 2 rehab starts coming back. Velo seems like it's there. Obviously, he's not walking people. Again, we're talking about complex league and then Single A Palm Beach. So we'll see where he ends up after this. But, no super rush on this. But it's good to hear that Quinn Matthews making progress and doing well. Cardinals are going to be back in Baltimore on Tuesday. Game 2 of this series against the Orioles. Andre Palante will be taking the mound for the Cardinals against one of Miles Michaelis's former teammates, actually. If you remember, Miles Michaelis had to go over to Japan. He had kind of washed out of the league here in the States, goes to Japan, gets his act together, figures some things out. That's when the Cardinals brought him back over. And, he was really, really good for a while, and he was really, really bad. So far this year, though, after that Boston game, he's been incredible. But they're going to be facing one of his former teammates from Japan, Tomoyuki Sugano, who actually has been pretty darn good for the Orioles. 4-3, 3.07 ERA. So not an easy task for the Redbirds, but hopefully the Bats will wake up in game 2, get a good night's sleep. That's another thing too. It's like you get those tough games against Arizona, you're at home, and then you got to travel on a holiday weekend, and then you got a day game right after that. So, trust me, I get it. You're switching time zones as well. I get it. I get it. It's exhausting. So to come out flat the way they did on Monday, not super surprised. You were just hoping it wouldn't be that bad where, they lost 5-2. It's not like they got blown out or something like that, but just not a lot of juice in this particular game. And maybe that should have been expected considering what just went down and, the travel and everything. So, well, hopefully they get their act together and things will go better for them in game 2, because Baltimore is certainly a team that you should not be losing series to. That is their 19th win of the season. So it's not like they're winning a whole lot. We'll hope for better. All right, we're going to wrap it up. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, give us a follow on X at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio, TikTok, and Instagram at Locked On Cardinals. Like, subscribe on YouTube to help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. Happy Memorial Day. Thank you to all of the veterans and, of course, to our active military members for, protecting us. It's amazing the stuff that you do. So thank you very much. You guys are the best people. You're the best fans in baseball for a reason. And I will see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.